Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're exploring a topic that really gets right to the heart of what makes us unique.
Personality and mood.
Exactly. And we've taken a deep dive into quite a stack of sources for this one.
hmm
Everything from, basic definitions to research papers, interviews with leading scientists.
And our mission really is to pull out the key insights, the surprising facts these sources reveal about a connection you might not immediately think of.
Which is,
The one between your gut microbes and, well, your sense of self.
right, it kind of challenges that idea that your personality is just fixed, doesn't it?
It really does, suggesting it's maybe more dynamic, maybe influenced by these trillions of tiny organisms living inside you.
So we're going to unpack these sources, find those key insights, and try to understand what this incredible link might mean for you.
Sounds good.
Let's start maybe by grounding ourselves in the human side.
Mhm.
How do these sources define something as, well, as complex as personality?
Well, the definition we found is pretty straightforward, actually. It states that personality is essentially the unique collection of behaviors, thoughts, and emotions that make you, you.
Your individual pattern.
Exactly, your
Well,
pattern.
Okay, so it's not just like a static label you stick on someone.
No, not at all. The sources really emphasize that it's dynamic, it's an organized set of traits, but it's not
It
fixed.
can change, develop.
Precisely, throughout your life. And it's influenced by, well, two big things we always talk about: your innate disposition, nature, and your learned experiences, your environment nurture.
And this personality mix includes stuff like your character, specific traits.
Yep, character traits and your observable behavior,
And this unique blend, it directly impacts how you interact with the world around you.
right? How you form social connections, even how you approach solving problems.
It's like your personal operating system for navigating life.
That's a good way to put it.
So that's the human blueprint. But as these sources make pretty clear, that blueprint isn't operating in isolation, is it?
No, far from it. What's really fascinating here, reading through this material, is the realization that we are complex ecosystems.
Ecosystems.
Yeah, your body is home to countless other species: bacteria, viruses, fungi.
It's fungi too. Wow.
Oh, yeah, all living in this unique community called the microbiome.
It's like we're walking, talking universes, and the sources
Mhm.
point out this isn't some new thing either.
Not at all. Human existence has always depended on microbes. This cooperative setup, it might even have been crucial for our survival through evolutionary history.
That dependency is ancient then.
Absolutely. And while the most famous residents, the gut microbes living deep inside us, are known for helping digest food, release nutrients.
Yeah, that's the bit everyone knows.
Right. But these sources really highlight a less understood, much more intricate relationship they seem to have with our brain.
A relationship that shapes our behaviors, moods, emotions.
That's what the research suggests, actively shaping them. There's this one detail from the sources that really stood out to me. Studies over the past decade show the contents of your gut can actually affect aspects of your overall personality.
That is a profound statement.
It is. And one of the most compelling pieces of evidence presented comes from looking at fecal microbiota transplant, FMT.
Okay, FMT. Let's unpack this. So that's the procedure where healthy microbes from a donor's stool get transferred to someone with gut issues.
Exactly. And the sources give a bit of history, mentioning its modern use goes back to 1958.
Right, for severe gut infections, imbalances.
Yeah, and apparently it worked wonders by restoring healthy bacteria.
But the new frontier, according to these sources, is testing it for, well, difficult mental health challenges.
Like depression. That's where it gets really interesting.
It does. The research mentioned seems to show that restoring a well-balanced microbiome through FMT can sometimes flip the switch for patients.
Showing a pretty clear link between the gut microbes and mood.
There was a specific study mentioned from Canada.
Yes, 2020, Queen's University. It found improved symptoms in patients with major depressive disorder and also various anxiety conditions after FMT.
Things like agoraphobia, panic disorder.
Specific phobias too, yeah. Remarkable results.
Though, and this is important, the sources rightly add that crucial caveat.
Absolutely. More research is definitely needed before this could ever become, a standard treatment.
Of course. And the theory, the why it might work.
Well, the leading theory presented is that infusing this healthy, diverse mix of microbes can actually alter the production of mood-regulating hormones.
Hormones that then directly impact the brain.
Exactly.
That word diversity seems really key here. Why is having a diverse microbial community in your gut so important based on these sources?
The sources make it pretty clear. A diverse microbiome just functions better overall.
Like a rainforest versus a cornfield.
That's a great analogy, yeah. More species doing different jobs makes a whole system more robust, more resilient, better able to resist harmful invaders, pathogens.
And conversely, the sources point to some pretty disturbing behavioral results when that diversity is lacking.
They do. The evidence is quite stark, especially looking at the animal studies mentioned.
Like the germ-free rats.
Yeah, a 2014 study. Rats raised in completely sterile conditions. They found they were more stressed, more anxious,
And less friendly, right?
and notably less friendly, yes. Another study, this one on germ-free mice, showed a lack of curiosity, impaired memory. They couldn't learn new things as well.
Wow. You strip away the microbes and these fundamental behaviors just shift.
It's startling, and it's not limited to animals. The sources connect this to human findings, too.
Like that 2020 study from Oxford University, Katarina Johnson.
That's the one. It
Yeah.
found this really compelling correlation
Which was?
that people described as more sociable tended to have greater diversity in their gut microbiome.
And the flip side?
People reporting more stress or anxiety tended to have lower diversity.
So maybe a connection between how we interact with others and the life inside us.
Seems possible. Katarina Johnson is quoted saying she's fascinated by how variation in the types of bacteria living in the gut may be related to personality.
That's quite a statement.
And she even raises this interesting possibility based on studies in primates
Okay.
that social interactions themselves might actually promote gut microbiome diversity.
Ah, so it could be a two-way street. Being social helps your microbes, and maybe your microbes help you be social.
It suggests that possibility, yeah. A complex interplay.
This all points to a constant critical conversation happening between our brain and our gut microbes then.
It absolutely does. And the sources pinpoint the main communication channel,
The vagus nerve.
the vagus nerve,
Mhm.
described as a major highway linking the gut and the brain.
And what's truly striking, mentioned in the sources, is the direction of traffic on that highway.
You'd think it's mostly brain down, right?
You would, but they say about 80% of the communication starts from the gut and travels up to the brain.
80%. That's huge.
It is. And this gut influence via the vagus nerve, it also plays a major role in things like our heart rate, blood pressure, digestion.
Showing just how integrated these systems really are.
So how do these microbes actually talk? What's the mechanism?
Well, they're chemically active. They're not just sitting there passively. They generate hormones and, get this, psychoactive compounds.
Psychoactive compounds from bacteria.
Yeah. Listen to this fact from the sources.
Mm-hmm.
Your gut microbes generate about 90% of your body's serotonin.
90%. The brain only makes the other 10.
Roughly, yes. And serotonin, while we often call it the feel-good hormone, its effects on mood are a bit indirect, but it's absolutely crucial.
Regulating mood, sleep, digestion.
All of that.
Yeah.
So think about it. 90% of this key chemical messenger is made by your internal bacteria.
That's incredible.
And it's not just serotonin. The sources mention gut bacteria producing hordes of psychoactive compounds, including about half a dozen different neurotransmitters.
Wow. Okay, so they're basically chemical factories down there?
In a way, yes. Kathleen McAuliffe, a science journalist quoted from a 2024 TED Talk, makes a really powerful point here.
What did she say?
She said, gut bacteria can talk to the brain because we, meaning our microbes and human cells, all speak the same language.
A common chemical language.
Exactly. And she goes even further, noting that some scientists propose this common language might have been actually invented by bacteria.
Okay, wait. Invented by bacteria, the language our own cells use.
That's the proposal from some scientists mentioned. It's a truly mind-bending idea.
It really is, that the fundamental way our cells communicate might have originated with these ancient microbial partners.
And the sources add that these bacterial signals also help regulate our own body's hormone production too. It's deeply interconnected.
This level of integration, it leads neuroscientist John Cryan, quoted in a 2023 BBC interview,
Right, I saw that reference.
to argue that we simply cannot compartmentalize the body. You can't separate mind and gut.
Makes sense, given everything we're discussing.
And he raises this crucial question. What if these signals, these chemical messages from our gut microbes, are profoundly important in determining how we feel, how we behave?
In fact, we act, exactly.
And this line of thinking naturally opens up potential future avenues. Could we therapeutically modulate these microbes?
Through diet,
Hmm.
probiotics, other interventions?
Perhaps. To improve not just physical health, but maybe thinking, behavior, brain health.
This is where that concept of psychobiotics comes in, right?
Precisely. The sources describe these as concoctions of live microorganisms specifically designed with the goal of improving mental health.
By targeting the gut first, a gut-first approach to mental well-being.
That's the idea. The goal is to restore microbiome health in a way that encourages the proper regulation of neurotransmitters.
Like that serotonin we talked about.
And also GABA.
GABA. The sources define that as having a calming effect, essential for mood regulation.
That's right. So the potential is there, at least in theory, to influence crucial brain chemistry by focusing on what's happening in the gut. So after diving through all this material, what does it all really mean for you listening?
Well, our deep dive into these sources reveals, I think, a profound and perhaps surprising connection. Your gut microbiome isn't just passively digesting your food,
No, it's a dynamic community.
actively communicating with your brain, influencing your mood, your stress levels, maybe even aspects of what makes your personality unique.
We've definitely seen how early research with therapies like FMT shows this connection quite dramatically in action.
And the exciting, though still developing, potential of future interventions like psychobiotics that aim to support mental well-being by starting in the gut.
Yeah, and those studies linking microbe diversity to behavior in animals and sociality in humans, they really make you pause and think, don't they?
They certainly do. It adds a whole new layer to that long-standing discussion about where personality comes from,
Nature, nurture.
and maybe nature, nurture, and the billions of microbial partners inside you. An intricate interplay.
Right, so here's where it gets really interesting and maybe leaves you with a thought to ponder. Okay, given everything we've seen in these sources, that our gut microbes produce so many of the chemical messengers our brain relies on.
90% of serotonin. Hordes of psychoactive compounds.
Exactly. And that some scientists even propose bacteria actually invented the very language our cells use to communicate.
That mind-bending idea.
What does that truly suggest about the fundamental basis of our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors? Could we, in a very real sense, be dancing to a tune played by our own internal ecosystem?
That is a truly compelling question, and one that these sources certainly encourage us to explore further. It challenges our whole sense of self, in a way.
This deep dive has definitely revealed just how interconnected our bodies are, and how much more there is to learn about this internal universe we all carry around.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you feel a bit more informed now and maybe profoundly curious about this remarkable ongoing conversation between your gut and your mind.